to talk about Vue.js together with a couple of our products called Monaca and Onsen UI. So let's get started. So again, my name is Masahiro Tanaka. I came from Tokyo, Japan, which I live. I'm not actually coming to New York just because I want to escape from the bomb attack from North Korea, but also I just wanted to, yeah, I miss my kids and wife. I'm very curious. I mean, I'm very afraid that whenever there is a missile, there is a Japanese like bomb prevention system that alerts me every moment by my phone, even if I'm living even if I'm in United States. So it's kind of like nervous, but yeah, I'm living very happily in Tokyo with lots of foreigners in my company. So if you have any plan to come to Tokyo, please visit my company, or even Tokyo is a very good place to live, I think, and no need to worry about Japanese language because we have lots of foreigners, even coming from like all the Americans and Europeans coming together in this company. So if you are finding for a job, especially in Tokyo, please contact me. I think that's the shortest path to live in Tokyo, Japan. So today's topic, I would like to talk about Vue.js together with Onsen UI and Monaca. And just to start off, there are many frameworks. I think it's those 4 frameworks have been pretty much like around for a couple of years now. Everything, all the frameworks are very good, very well made. I won't say about jQuery so much, but the way to to develop an application without using any framework is also, I think, is a prominent option if you want to gain performance. So that's why there are many options for you to select which framework to use for Cordova. And today I would like to especially talk about Vue.js, but it's just because just talking about why I wanted to talk about Vue.js today against all the other frameworks is not just because Vue.js is much better or much superior than others. That's not what I would like to talk in this talk. It's just because my personal favor. I think just choosing which framework to use is just a personal choice. For my company, we are doing system consultancy, and just Vue.js just fit well with our purpose. But it doesn't mean everybody should use Vue.js or maybe Angular or React. I think everybody have freedom to choose whatever the framework you like. But I would like to. I'm more a fan of Vue.js because I was just invited for a Vue conference in Europe and having an opportunity to talk about this awesome framework together with Onsen UI. So that's why I even have a very good fan of Vue.js. But not only that, if I were to say maybe 1 or 2 reasons on top of it, there are a couple of reasons I would like to endorse Vue.js. One is because it's really developer friendly. All the other frameworks also are very friendly to developers, but especially for Vue.js, the creator of Vue.js called Evan, he's actually living in New Jersey. Maybe some of you knows about it. He's American, originally from China, so that's why there are many large user base of Vue.js, especially in China and also in Japan. So they have a very good documentation, also in Chinese and Japanese. So that's why that's one of the reasons why we picked Vue.js inside our company. But not only that, Ivan also mentioned that his philosophy is not to make breaking changes unless it is rarely required. I think that's a very good philosophy because nowadays there is many frameworks competing each other. Sometimes they do the full rewrite of the internal framework that sometimes make some breaking changes. That's inevitable, I think. But just for the developers, users' point of view, we don't want to just maintain our application just because the framework has been updated. We just want to keep the same source code as long as the framework supports all the latest features of operating systems. So I will say Vue.js is kind of safe, in my opinion, because of that philosophy of Ivan, who wants to have the persistent API specification. So that's one obvious reason for me to pick Vue.js. And the other reason is more for the designer perspective, because using Vue.js is just as simple as using a script tag, which is not a really cool choice for developers, obviously, because we like to use Webpack. But especially for designers, they feel much scary. They feel much less scary if they can just inject Vue.js in one script tag and just start using the components. And also the HTML5 syntax. HTML syntax is just about just as almost the same as just writing a plain HTML. So that's why there's nothing like a programmatical expressions if the designer don't want to choose it. So those are something. Those are, I think, the biggest reasons that I feel Vue.js is really makes sense for me and use this framework inside our company. But here's a problem: how we develop an application using Vue. Because I think Vue is an awesome tool for developing applications. We need some good solution for Cordova to develop an application using Vue. And actually, the solution is really simple. There is a command line called Vue CLI, which is the official command line tool provided by official Vue economy. And just using Vue init command will just create a Cordova boilerplate. And what is good about Vue CLI is that whenever you want to initialize your project, it will ask you many questions like like what kind of build system you would like to have, or what kind of linting, or even like what kind of state management like Vuex should be included or not. So it really is a very quick and easy step for you to start developing an application using Cordova. So I would like to just spend some time demonstrating this. So this is the actual package. This is the result of the Vue command. And if I run this, it will start a dev server, and this is a Vue-driven application using Onsen UI as a framework library, as a UI library. And when you see this code, okay, oh, I think I need to open this. So when you see this code, it's as I mentioned, this is not really not scary at all, because the starting point is just as simple as a plain ECMAScript. And if you see the internal application, there's a template tag which defines the page itself using a standard HTML. And of course, there's a nice feature like this binding and the events. But other than that, the Vue component is just as plain JavaScript, as you understand. So I think it's really quick to get started and get onboarding with Vue.js. Okay. So I quickly talk about Onsen UI. So I want to have more deep diving into what this is that we are creating. So Onsen UI is UI components, especially designed for mobile applications. So it's Well, it's really similar. Actually, honestly, it's really similar to Ionic. So if you know about Ionic, it's a Ionic alternative. So it's 100% open source. We are making it in Japan, so it's a Japan-made. So and we're really focusing on the performance, especially to the mobile devices. So what's challenging when creating Cordova application is that, so you have Cordova, and of course you have the framework that you would like to use. Maybe it's Vue, or maybe it's React, maybe it's Angular, or maybe it's Ember, Knockout, Aurelia. There are so many frameworks. But the problem is that there is nothing that supplements the UI logic between the framework and your logic. And that's what we are trying to solve using Onsen UI. And by the way, actually, Onsen UI, the meaning of Onsen UI is that onsen is a Japanese term for spa, which converts to single-page applications. So that's how. So that's why this is our trademark. Like, so this logo. When you come to Japan, you go to spa onsen. You will see lots of signs like that. That describes the pool. And there's like a stream coming up, and so that's a design. So we're using that Onsen UI as a logo. So how you can build application using Onsen UI? So you just I quickly showed the getting the Vue command startup, but this is a working example of the kitchen sink application. So it's a like a swiping tab bar feature, which has been introduced recently, and all the other components. So actually, this source code is totally cross-platform. So once you write this code, Onsen UI will automatically adjust the appearance and locate each component and place it to the optimal position. Of course, you can disable if you want to keep the same design. But it's automatically by default to have this kind of cross-platform visuals. And like for instance, like for Pufok, you'll see the material version and the iOS version having totally different user interface. So those are the big benefit of Onsen UI if you want to seriously want to have an actual native experience. And this is a monkey in onsen, especially taken in Japan. And maybe this is kind of like a deja vu, but this is made of web components. Maybe you've seen this, you've heard of this in this morning session, but Onsen UI is also web components made. We made decision like 2 years ago when Angular 1 and 2 migration was very high. We don't want to lose Angular 1 user, but we also need to incorporate with Angular 2 users. So the decision we made was to convert everything into web components. So that's why Onsen UI is totally made of web components. So it just runs against all the different frameworks. But actually, on top of it, actually web components is not perfect in my opinion, because it doesn't support all the component features that framework provides. Like for Vue.js, they're providing events or maybe bindings. Those features cannot be solved by web components itself, because the web component specification is like very trivial, very primitive. But the framework components are very very efficient, and frameworks have been have been controlling all the DOMs inside the element. But if we convert them to web components, the web components like capsules, hides all the inner DOM, which has been a little bit programmatic problem when dealing with those frameworks. So that's why we are making framework bindings, so that all the frameworks' nature capabilities can be also effective to the web components. I will show them in action. So this is how Onsen UI is made. So it's written in pure CSS using CSS Next. And then we have web components written in pure JavaScript. And then on top of it, there are framework bindings. So for instance, this is a this is an actual example of a vanilla JS version of Onsen UI. I'm sorry, OK. So it's just as simple as using all those elements inside your applications, and you can just have this navigation capability. If you want to use for Vue.js, here's the Vue.js of the same navigator component, which you see that there's a Vue.js specific props and methods for extendability, right? And if you want to use this with React, then you can write it. Of course, you can write in React way. For instance, maybe this tells like how it goes. So the navigator component is now called ons.navigator, which is a React way. And then you can actually supply the React components for the props, which we cannot do for the pure web components. So that's why we need bindings in order to handle this kind of unique features. So, and finally, there's an Angular version. Actually, Onsen UI still supports Angular version 1 because lots of users are still using it. But for 2 and above, this is a way to write. So it's now it's converted to the Angular style. Like where's the navigator component? Oh, here it is. Yeah. So this is a navigator component. So these are actually our tutorials. So if you're interested, just come to tutorials website, and this is a working example, and you can just edit your code here and just try out. So for more details, I will recommend you to come to the official website, and we are actually pretty much doing a very good job for documentations. So yeah, please take a look. We also have a very active community. Also, not only the forum, but also the chat and also various ways. So please also come and join us. And please also share your effort if you have done any project with Onsen UI. OK, I think 1 more minute left. So I'll just quickly talk about the tooling part, because this is something I need to talk. So not only Onsen UI, we also provide a commercial product called Monaca, which is our revenue source. So I need to talk about this. So Monaca is a tooling on top of cloud for Cordova development. We are focusing on professional and enterprise developers especially. And we're enhancing Cordova features to support more decent capability to Cordova. So I will just quickly show you what kind of features we have. So one is debugger, which does live update, and also offline and online. You mean like online and local debugging support, and also like first features that you can expect as a debugger. Going next, remote build feature. So we are hosting a bunch of Mac Minis. We around have like 20 Mac Minis now, because there are so many different versions of Cordova. We still have like Xcode 6 version of Mac Minis because of the to keep the backward compatibility. And actually, what is unique of our remote build service is that all the Cordova plugins are supported, because it's just a standard Cordova. We are running your build script under the, like a jailed environment, sandboxed environment. So you can use hook scripts and various things. It's just a plain Cordova, so no need to tweak your Cordova plugins. And we also provide code encryption. So if you want to encrypt your source code, not only JavaScript, but also like HTML, images, all the assets, we are there for you. And of course, the key can be supplied at runtime, which is very important because you don't want to keep your key inside your application, but somebody you want to take it from outside, right? So those are supported. And then we also have in-app updating, which is pretty popular these days. But actually our updater provides the on-premise deployment, so you can just start your server, put your updated resource, and our in-app updater plugin will connect to your server and fetch the updation, which is also important for enterprise needs. And we also have an enterprise management portal. If you have like multiple developers in your team, sometimes it's a little bit cumbersome to exchange the iOS keys and key stores. So we are doing the centralized management against all those developer accounts and certificates, management keys. Those are the features. CI, we also support CI. Security checker. This is so you can actually find your vulnerability analysis against native part of plugins and native part of your program, and some in HTML5 and Cordova related stuff. We cannot do the fully security analysis on HTML5 and JavaScript because it's a little bit difficult. But for the native part, we're doing this with Sony. For making this in effect, and this is pretty much used in Japan. And also finally we have a local and online IDE. So of course you can use Sublime Text or Visual Studio Code or whatever in your local environment, but we also provide a cloud IDE, browser-based IDE option, and you can just switch together. You can just flip. Because some, especially designers, they don't want to maintain their development environment, so they just come to our website and start this IDE and just do some little fix and just build. So everything is seamless, I hope. So please, I would like you to give it a try. So you can start from free, and from next week we will accept US dollar payment finally. So no more 2,000 yen per month pricing. So should be easy for you to get calculated because the price varies by the USD, US dollar and Japanese rate. So now it's going to be a stable price. So and we also offer free training and consultation. So if you want to just try out Monaca and Onsen UI, please give it a try. Please contact me anytime. I would like to extend your trial period if needed, especially for organization usage. I think this kind of tool is important. So please take a look and please catch me for details. So thank you so much. I hope you have relaxing mobile development using Onsen UI Monaca. And that's it from my side. Thank you.